The early Chalukyas ruled over the valley of the Malaprabha river in North Karnataka from the 6th to the 8th century AD. The period witnessed experimentation with various forms of temple construction, first at Aihole, then on to Badami, and in its most finished form at Pattadakkal. This trio of towns, containing over 150 temples, collectively came to be known as the Cradle of Indian temple architecture. Pattadakkal has been inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It showcases a group of temples in both North Indian or Nagara style and Dravidian or South Indian characteristics. Dravidian temple architecture evolved from Aihole into the intricately detailed Hoysala temples in South Karnataka and through the Pallavan temples into the great Chola temples of Tamil Nadu and onward to Southeast Asia. Similarly, Nagara temple architecture evolved into the larger temple complexes like Khajuraho and the temple complexes of Orissa. In terms of sculptural art, nowhere else in India is there such a concentration of high-quality, well-preserved stone art as in Pattadakkal. Sculptures illustrate the full pantheon of Hindu icons. Icons from Buddhist and Jain religion are also displayed. Sculptures and narrative reliefs are seen in wall panels, basements, columns, brackets, doorways, column shafts, and splendid panels. Pattadakkal was a royal commemorative site. The Virupaksha and Mallikarjuna temples were constructed by two sister queens to commemorate successful campaigns against the Pallavas. Pattadakkal today is mostly just a heritage site with hardly any social infrastructure facilities. Tourists come here for a tour that can be completed in approximately 3 hours. The village is usually accessed from Badami, which is located at a distance of approximately 22 kilometers. The Kada Siddheshwara is the first temple seen within the precincts of the archaeological site. It is a simple structure consisting of a small square sanctuary leading to a mandapa. The sanctuary is provided with a simple tower which has 9 tiers in ascending and diminishing tiers. The walls of the sanctuary are provided with sculptures carved into niches created between pilasters. The Jambulinga temple is similar in plan to the Kadasiddheshwara temple. The walls of the temple rise on a basement which is decorated with miniature birds and dwarfs. The 3 sides of the sanctuary walls have sculptures on them framed by pilasters. The entrance doorway is intricately decorated. The Shikhara is provided with an icon of a dancing Shiva in a decorative arch on the face of the tower. The Galagnath temple is one of the earliest constructions at Pattadakkal. Its most distinguishing feature is the most well-preserved Nagara-style Shikhara or tower. On all sides, it is divided into 3 bands. The outer bands are square structures carrying decorative elements. The central bands contain decorative gavakshas from which faces peer out. The tower is capped by a finial which is in the shape of an amlaka 15 meters above the terrace. Currently, only the sanctuary and its antechamber survives. The outer walls, the entrance doorway, and the tower that rises above it still exist in reasonably good condition. Another key feature is the porch on the south side, which is highly ornamented. Between the 2 columns and the windows on either side is a sculpture of Shiva spearing Andhaka. The god wears a crown and a garland of skulls. The Chandrasekhara temple is a small temple with crisp details and hardly any ornamentation. A pair of crocodile-shaped makaras are visible on the south side. The Sangameshwara temple was constructed by the early Chalukyas. The temple is the perfect expression of Dravidian style of architecture. The walls of the passageway around the sanctum are fully preserved. They are raised on a basement which is decorated with sculpted ornamentation. The passageway walls each have 4 projections framing 3 sculptures each. The Lakshmi Kumbha pillar was set up by King Kirtivarman II in 755 AD. The writings on the pillar highlight the reason for construction of the Virupaksha and Mallikarjuna temples. The Virupaksha temple is an outstanding construction. Even at the time of construction, it must have been recognized as a stupendous achievement. There is an inscription on the temple conferring to the architect the title of Master of the 3 Worlds. Every element of the Virupaksha temple is embellished with sculptural compositions. On the walls of the mandapa and sanctuary are 30 magnificent sculptures. These are framed by decorated pilasters and richly ornamented parapets and eaves. These are among the most elaborate sculptural decorations of early Chalukyan art. All the porches have side walls, columns and ceilings that are richly decorated. Inside the mandapa are 18 freestanding columns with 4 columns embedded into the wall. On all these columns are rich carvings of divinities, stories from the Hindu epics and other themes. On the right of the sanctuary is a minor shrine containing an image of Mahishamardini, the goddess Durga, slaying the demon Mahishasura. This is regarded as one of the great masterpieces of early Chalukyan art. In front of the temple is a Nandi pavilion accommodating a life-size Nandi. The floor of the pavilion is raised on a high basement incorporating carved decorations. Inside the pavilion are 4 solid columns with cushion capitals. The ceiling is provided with a lotus medallion panel. The east gateway is a large structure with a central passageway at ground level. The gateway is significant as it reflects an embryonic gatehead marking the beginning of the evolution of the Gopuram. The Gopuram is one of the most striking productions of Dravidian temple architecture. The Mallikarjuna temple is very similar in concept to the Virupaksha temple. It is slightly smaller in scale and design and in many cases more incomplete. A dancing Shiva icon is visible in the frontal arched projection of the tower of the temple. The porch columns are all extensively decorated. Intricate sculptures are carved onto the walls of the temple. Mandapa columns are extensively carved. In addition to narratives from the epics, there are episodes from the Panchatantra. In the central aisle of the mandapa and the vestibule, intricate ceiling panels are carved. In front of the temple, a dilapidated pavilion accommodates 2 greenstone Nandis. The Kashi Vishwanath temple consists of a small sanctuary and a rectangular mandapa. The temple has the most advanced Nagara-style architecture tower at Pattadakkal. The tower of the temple has 5 projecting bands on each side, unlike the Galagnatha temple which had 3. It is constructed using a complicated mesh pattern using typical temple arch-like ornamentation modules. Inside the temple are 4 intricately carved columns. A walk along the river for a few minutes brings one to the last temple of Pattadakkal, the Papanatha temple. The Papanatha temple is of particular interest for its mixed architectural style. Here, Nagara features intermingle with Dravida features, creating a unique hybrid style of temple. The sculptures on the walls represent the most complete collection of Ramayan reliefs found on any early Chalukyan monument. The Papanatha is the only early Chalukyan temple to be provided with 2 interconnecting mandapas. Animal friezes seen on some of the basements are among the finest in the early Chalukyan period. Niches are created by pilasters on the walls and contain comprehensive sculptural images. Decorated parapets and eaves can be seen for all the niches and a mix of Nagara and Dravida ornamentation. The doorway at the entrance to the porch is one of the most ornately carved in Pattadakkal. The outer mandapa has 16 columns in the middle and 12 against the walls. The 4 columns of the inner mandapa have 16-sided shafts which are elaborately decorated. Ceiling panels portray Shiva in various forms and are the finest version of these themes in Pattadakkal. The sanctuary doorway is also surrounded by ornately decorated bands. Pattadakkal presents the culmination of evolution of temple architecture in this region. From the smaller temples to the gated complexes of Virupaksha, Mallikarjuna and Pappanatha temples, stages of evolution are clearly witnessed at the site. This completes the video tour of Pattadakkal. If you liked this tour and found it useful, visit us at extolindia.com. If you are visiting the monument, please download our audio guide app, Extol India, available on Google Play and the iStore. Until then, happy experiencing with Extol India.